All right, it is 5 o'clock straight up, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to our Ozobot 101 webinar, our first webinar of the 2024-25 school year. To get a better idea of why you're all here, we have a quick poll for you. Please take a couple minutes to answer a simple question. Number one, what brought you to this webinar today? And that's the only question we have, is just one. So go ahead and take a minute to answer that question, please. All right, we'll give everybody about 30 more seconds. Also, if you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat, you're absolutely welcome to. We'd love to know where everyone's calling in from today.
Hi, my name is Sarah Staley, and I'm from Forest Grove Middle School. I teach 8th grade, and I have one STEM class, but I did inherit a couple of those Ozobots.
Excellent. That's perfect. We're glad you're here today.
Thank you.
All right, Jordan, do you want to share those poll results? Or got people from all over the place. California, Arizona, Texas. Hi, Sarah. I'm in South Texas also. I'm in Victoria. All right, so our poll for today, we have, excuse me, we have quite a few people who just got Ozobots. Excellent, we're glad you're here. We also have the same number of people who inherited bots, so that's just like getting new bots as well. We have some trainers, 32% of you train other people. And 27% are here for a refresher. That's fantastic. And for the people who answered none of the above, be sure to type in the chat why you came today. Thank you so much for answering that poll question. That helps us to kind of know who we have here, and we can answer any of your questions today. So to begin, again, my name is Jen Maher. I'm a curriculum developer and professional development specialist with Ozobot. I've been with the company for 4 years, 10 months, and 1 week. I'm a former dance teacher, both in private and public schools, and finished my time in the classroom as a middle school math and science teacher. So I've got some of those letters in STEAM covered. So Jordan?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jordan Hanna, and I've been with Ozobot for a year now. I'm also a curriculum developer, and I just love creating content for teachers to bring Ozobot into their classrooms. I have a master's in elementary education and teaching, and before coming to Ozobot, I was a kindergarten teacher. I am so excited to be here with you all today and teach you about Ozobot. So with that, we will get started.
All right, thank you.
So real quick, I wanted to review what we're going to cover today. Jen is going to start us off with how Ozobot works. So covering the 2 incredible ways in which you and your students can program with Ozobot. Then I'm going to share with you all of the free resources that are available to you on our website so that you can actually implement Ozobot into your classroom. Then Jen's going to share with you some very important information on setup and support. And we'll wrap up with some Ozobot updates, followed by a Q&A, and then a quick survey at the end. And so the purpose of this webinar is to provide all of you with a comprehensive introduction to your Ozobots and to our platform. We are going to assume that many of you have just received brand new Ozobots, or you might have been gifted a dusty set from the depths of another teacher's closet. So now what? Today, we're going to provide you with all the tools on getting started, whether you're brand new to Ozobot or you're just seeking a way to enhance your classroom experience. This webinar is an ideal starting point for you. We do have a lot of information for you today, but don't worry about taking notes. as we are recording this webinar, and we will post it online afterwards. Additionally, we've designated that time for the Q&A at the end, so please hold your questions or type them in the chat. And with that, I'll hand it over to Jen.
Thank you, Jordan. So let's talk about how Ozobot works. There are two ways to program Evo. There are color codes and Ozobot Blockly. We're going to first talk about color codes, and then after that, we'll have a little overview of Ozobot Blockly. So what are color codes? Color codes are patterns of 2, 3, or 4 color blocks that program Ozobot to perform a certain action. Is there a list of color codes? Absolutely. The color code chart contains all the color codes that Ozobot recognizes. What materials do you need to use color codes? You'll just need white paper and 4 colors of markers: black, blue, red, and green. The pre-made lessons in the lesson library have activity sheets that are ready to print, so you don't have to create your own mazes to start. Here are a few examples of color codes and their actions. That one's called Nitro Boost. It makes Ozobot go really fast for 3 seconds. Next, we have Tornado. It does a spinny action. It starts slow and gets faster. Then we have a right at intersection. So the bot will turn right when it comes to that intersection. And then we have a U-turn. That tells the bot to turn around and go back the way it came. All right, so how do color codes work and how do I use them? There's a color code guide found on the Ozobot website that gives all the specifics. So we're going to go actually to our website, ozobot.com. And when you get to the home page, hover over how it works in the menu along the top of the page. Click on Color Codes. And once that opens, it takes you to the page where you will find a link to a downloadable PDF of the color code guide. On page 1 of the color code guide, you'll see instructions on how to calibrate. Calibration allows Ozobot to detect the light in your space and adjust its sensors so it can see the lines and colors properly. To calibrate, you'll place the bot on a black dot that's about the same size as the bottom of the bot. Hold the power button in for 3 to 5 seconds or until the top LED flashes white. Then let go of the power button. The bot should turn left and right, make a sound, and move off the dot. The top LED will flash green if the calibration was successful. If it flashes red, try again. On page 2 and 3, there's information in the guide about markers and paper, lines and spacing, and corners and intersections. You'll see that corners, 90 degrees, intersections, the bot really likes those 90-degree corners and intersections. On page 4, it has more information about actually the drawing of the color codes. Be sure the code is in between 2 black line segments. There needs to be at least 1 inch of straight black line before a color code and at least 1 inch after, with a few exceptions that need more space. There should also be at least 1 inch of black line before corners and intersections. You'll find examples of this on page 5. Page 6 contains the color code chart. Oh, there's our examples. There's a little reminder of how much space in between. You'll notice that on page 6 is the color code chart. And this is our list of all of the color codes that the bot recognizes. You'll find at the top row of the color code chart, scroll back down just slightly there, Jordan, thank you. At the top of the color code chart, you'll find all of the codes. There's 6 of them that program speed. Then the next row down is the direction at intersections. There are codes that will tell the bot to leave a line it is traveling on and find a new line to follow. Those are the line switch codes. We also have our special moves, the tornado, zigzag, spin, and back walk. And those are the ones that require a little more space after the code to perform the action and continue following a line. They need at least 2.5 inches of straight black line after the code. You'll also notice timers, counters, and the win-exit codes. The next page is a brief explanation of each code. And following that is a template for calibration dots. Please note that if you're using printed lines for color code activities, excuse me, calibrate to a printed dot. If students are drawing the lines, calibrate to a marker drawn dot. The following page after the printed dots is a template for marker drawn calibration spots. And the last page is a printable sheet of graph paper with boxes that are 5mm square, which is the perfect size for practice lines and practice color codes that are just the right size. When using this page, be sure to print with the size setting at 100% to ensure the boxes are the right size. If you don't want to print this page and you have other graph paper in your classroom, be sure that it's quarter-inch graph paper so that the boxes are 1/4-inch square. That's about the perfect size for lines and color codes. All right, our next slide. Before you get overwhelmed with all those requirements and details, just know that we've got you covered. We have a series of 9 video lessons called Introduction to Color Codes that takes you and your students through the concepts and how-tos of programming Ozobot with color codes. You'll notice on this slide that there are more than 9 lessons in this image. That's because there are 2 skills checks in the series that are differentiated by grade. So there's a skills check 1 for grades K through 2, for grades 3 through 5, and for grades 6 through 12. And also a skills check 2 for each of the same grade levels. On the next slide, we see the first lesson in the intro series, which is called Basic Training. It walks you through calibrating and the concept of symmetry in the codes. Notice in the page on the right, at the top of the page, there are symmetrical codes, and that just means that the codes are symmetrical in their color pattern. It also means that no matter which direction the bot is traveling when it goes over the code, it will perform the same action. On the bottom of that page, notice the color patterns are asymmetric. Because of this, the direction the bot is traveling will determine the action. This activity helps students recognize that they need to place colors as if they were the bot traveling along the line. In other words, they need to see the code from the bot's perspective. Keep your eye out for other webinars at the end of September, all about color codes. Later in the fall, we also have a few Blockly webinars scheduled if you're ready to take your students on a block coding adventure. On our next slide, we're going to switch gears and take a look at Ozobot Blockly. So what do you need to get started with Ozobot Blockly? You'll need an internet-connected device like a laptop, tablet, Chromebook, or desktop computer. You'll also need an Ozobot. There it is. On our next slide, we're actually just going to go live to Ozobot Blockly, and you'll find Ozobot Blockly either through the website or you can type in ozoblockly.com/editor. I always suggest that you have students include the /editor because it takes you directly to the editor. When using Evo, be sure that the toggle on the top left has Evo highlighted. Underneath the bot options are numbers. Those are the levels of difficulty. When you click on each number, the number of categories increases. In level 1, the blocks are all image-based, so even your youngest programmers and those that struggle with English can be successful. In levels 2 and 3, there are drop-down menus for customizing each block. In levels 4 and 5, you can type values and words into the fields to determine how the bot will act as it reads that program. Then on the right-hand side, there's actually another menu hiding behind those icons. This is where you'll go to connect your Ozobot and run, save, and share programs. At the top of this side menu, you see Connect. When the program is ready, click on Connect to pair your bot and follow the on-screen instructions. Once your bot is paired, the Connect button will change to Run Program. On the bottom of this menu is where you would create a share code that students can use to save programs. When you click Share, a 6-digit code is generated that is unique to the program on your workspace. If your students use an electronic document or journal, they can copy and paste the URL. When they're ready to work on the program again, they go to their doc and click the URL, which takes them straight back to the editor with their program ready to go. If students are using activity sheets to document their work, they can write the 6 digits that are displayed next to the words share code. That is a little simpler than handwriting the whole URL. Then when they want to return to the program, they return to the same menu, click on Open Program, and then at the top of the page, they'll click Enter Share Code. They'll type in the 6 digits and click OK. Their program should open in the workspace. Also in this right-hand menu is a Help tab that contains topics on using Ozobot Blockly. Also, there's a glossary. This is one of my favorite features because when the glossary is open, you can click on a block and the glossary will skip to that block with an explanation. The Examples tab provides activities that are specific to the level chosen on the left menu. The challenges provide further activities. And then there is a Python preview for those students who are ready to start making connections between block coding and language-based programming. I know we're covering a lot right now, so just remember we'll be having another webinar that is specific to Ozobot Blockly a little later in the year, so keep an eye out for that. All right, on to our next slide. When you first get your bots or are just dusting them off, it's time to update them to be sure they are running the most current firmware. Please note in the video, it mentions Apple products only. However, the Google Play Store also has the Evo by Ozobot app, and it works exactly the same way. Jordan, click on that play
To
button.
update and rename multiple Evos, download the Ozobot Evo app from the iTunes Store on an iPhone or iPad. Connect to power and turn on your Evos. LEDs should be rolling yellow, light green, or green. If lights are orange or red, keep them in the charger until levels turn yellow or green, indicating sufficient battery levels for updating. To begin the multi-bot update process, select the Explore tab and scroll down. Select Teacher Tools, Multi-Bot Update, then hit Continue. The app will scan nearby Evos and display which bots require an update. Select Update Number of Evos to initiate the update process. Once complete, the Evos will reflect their status. Please note, each bot may take up to 7 minutes to update, meaning a 12-bot classroom kit may take up to 1 hour and 14 minutes, and an 18-bot classroom kit may take up to 2 hours and 6 minutes. To rename your Evos, navigate to the Explore tab and scroll down. Select Teacher Tools, Multi-Bot Rename. A list of your Evos will appear. One by one, an Evo in the list will have a colored circle appear. Match that color to the LED on your bot to rename that specific Evo. If you need assistance with multi-bot updating or renaming, we are here to help. Please contact support@ozobot.com.
All right, so just to recap a little bit about renaming your bots. After you've updated the bots and you're ready to give them names, one helpful hint is to decide on a naming convention before you begin and label the charge base if you're working with a class set. Then when you click on the multi-bot rename, all the bots that are plugged in or turned on will populate in the app. Click on a bot, and like the video said, it will the bot will flash the associated, the one that you click on and the one that is flashing, those are all connected. So when you give it a new name, you're naming the bot that is flashing. The reason to label your charge base first is because then you know what to enter when any particular bot is flashing. It just simplifies the process a little bit. And then you'll just repeat that until all your bots have new names. Be sure to label your bots also. I like to write with permanent marker just above the charge port on the back of the bot. So now that you've got bots that are updated and renamed, you're all set to connect in Ozobot Blockly. But you've got 18 students chomping at the bit to get connected. Hold your horses. Have students connect in clusters. For example, you might say something like, if you have bots 1 through 5, please turn on your bot and connect. Then when those 5 or 6 students are connected, you would then say, okay, now if you have bots 6 through 10, turn your bots on and connect. And so on until everyone is connected. Once a bot is connected, it doesn't populate in the list any longer. So the list just becomes shorter and it's a little easier for everyone to find the correct bot to connect to. All right, I have talked a lot. We do have a quick reminder, however, we have an in-depth intro series of lessons for color codes and for Ozobot Blockly in the lesson library. Each one of those intro lessons includes a video, so it's easy to just turn on the video and learn alongside your students. Are your brains full yet? I have a question for you as our brain break in the middle. What is one thing from this section of the webinar that you want to remember or to learn more about? If you would write that in the chat, I'll give you about 1 minute to do that.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Sure. What's one thing from this section that you want to remember or learn more about?
Great. See some interest in Ozobot Blockly, which makes the EDU team very happy. Updating and renaming bots and calibration, super, super important. Great. Well, thank you for your feedback. We'll go ahead and jump into our next section, how to implement Ozobot into your classroom. So Jen and I used to be in the classroom, just like all of you. We know that the beginning of the year right now, you are so busy with back to school night, those required professional developments, memorizing all of your new students' names, and not to mention retraining your legs to stand all day. And so you've probably already lost your voice. We want you to know that we are doing everything in our power to simplify your work when it comes to Ozobot, meaning that we have done all the lesson planning for you. So the first resource I want to share with you is Ozobot Classroom. This is our library of over 800 lessons for kindergarten through 12th grade. We've created this platform to provide educators with lessons to teach coding with Ozobot. And I want to reiterate, this resource is completely free. So you can log on every week, find new lessons, and implement them into your classroom. You can see up here, I've circled the number of lessons that we have in our lesson library. It says 895. And within those 895 lessons and counting, you can find the basic training series that Jen mentioned earlier. So those will be training series for both Color Codes and Blockly. And then you'll also find that all of our lessons are standards aligned. So that includes ISTE, CSTA, Common Core, and NGSS. We have monthly new lessons. So we're constantly creating new lessons and uploading them at the start of each month. In just a moment, I'll show you where you can find those new lessons. And if you'd like to be notified on these, you can subscribe to our monthly newsletter at ozobot.com. We have video lessons. So you can see here, there's a screenshot of me teaching one of the introductory lessons. And we really like to add a video component to each lesson. So that way we can take you and your students step by step through the lesson, really make it easy on you to facilitate the activity, but also learn alongside your students. We have seasonal lessons. Some are really fun. An example would be Run Turkey Run for Thanksgiving, Ozobot Goes Ice Skating for the winter, and Follow the Rainbow for St. Patrick's Day. And we also provide content integrated lessons. So focusing on language arts, history, math, and science concepts for each grade level, while also coding with Ozobot at the same time. And last, you can find unique and fun lessons that our Ozobot community has created. We beg you, don't recreate the wheel. This is our full-time job to write lessons for you. And we do our very best to meet your needs and provide you with a really wide range of content. Now I'll show you where you can go to find Ozobot Classroom. If you go back to ozobot.com, under Educators, you'll see it says Classroom. So you'll click on there and you'll see teachers and parents create a free account. This is where we want all of you to go the second this webinar ends, and please create a free account. Once you have that free account, this is what Ozobot Classroom looks like. You'll go ahead and click on Lessons to find all the lessons. And up here is our search feature. So you can search by grade, subject, and if you click filters, you can also filter it by coding method, what robot you have, if you want it to be an Ozobot created lesson or a community lesson, and so forth. You can also search words. So if you are planning for October and you want a Halloween themed lesson, you can go ahead and search the word Halloween and you'll see 10 lessons that match that search. If you want something that's more content integrated, such as multiplication, how do I use Ozobot during my multiplication unit? You can search that word and you will find 28 lessons that meet multiplication and code with Ozobot. So I'll clear the filters. It takes you back to the main page where you will see featured lessons. So this is where we add those new lessons each month. You can see here we have back to school themed lessons like orientation with Ozobot, Ozobot review. This is a really great lesson if you have older students, just to review them on that hardware and programming. And also Ozobot learns the ABCs, late for school, really fun lessons just to have at the beginning of the school year. Below that, you'll see Introduction to Color Codes and Introduction to Blockly. So these are those basic training series Jen mentioned before. You'll just click on View More to see the rest of them. And then they're all here for you. I also wanted to share with you one of our most popular lessons, Lunar New Year, and we'll just take you through what a lesson looks like. You'll see here, this is the video component. So you could just play this and project it for your students to learn alongside the video. Under that, you'll see the grade level, the subjects, a quick summary, and the academic standard that it meets. When you click on full lesson plan, you can see everything that we have included here for you. So quick summary, objectives and outcomes, all the student materials, and then any background knowledge that our team thinks you should have your students learn before completing this lesson. Then you'll find all the direct instruction. And if the lesson is for older students, there also will be student-facing instruction. Now here you can see the activity sheet. This is actually the solution page that we always include in our lessons. So as a teacher, you know what the intended outcome should look like. And then here are the student materials. So any cutouts and then their activity sheet. So before moving on, I quickly want to highlight some of the incredible activity sheets that our creative team has made. Each of these provides a really unique and fun application of color codes. And while we love seeing teachers make their own color code tracks with markers and butcher paper, we also want to make it really easy on you and provide you with top quality content that is fun and engaging for your students. So now I want to share with you some additional education offerings that are perfect to integrate STEAM into your classroom. These are just some of the resources you can find on our website, and again, they are free. The first one is our 3D CAD library, where you can download files to print 3D accessories for your Ozobot. So if you have access to that 3D printer, we highly recommend using this resource to connect various disciplines of STEAM education. And then there are lessons in Ozobot Classroom that use the 3D accessories, such as our bowling lessons, which are super popular and really fun, in which you print these 3D printed bowling pins, and then you use Ozobot as a bowling ball. We also have a series of hockey lessons in which you'll 3D print the hockey puck and the hockey stick attachment for your bot. And we have a 3D printed pen holder. So it'll clip a pen onto your bot, allowing students to make art with Ozobot. And we also want to share with you our new pacing guides and standards alignment documents. So this summer, the EDU team has been really hard at work focusing on creating these two offerings because we really wanted to give you a one-stop shop for planning your lessons for the whole year. Again, just make it really easy on you. So I'm going to hop back to ozobot.com to show you where you can find these. You will go to Educators, Education Offerings.
Ozobot is a window into the future of robots. It's a semi-autonomous line.
And scroll to the bottom and you'll see both pacing guides and the standards alignment support. So when you click on pacing guides, you'll see we have created them for kindergarten through 5th grade and then a middle school pacing guide. These are really planned for schools and programs who plan on using Ozobot year over year with their students, and then they need to pace out those concepts and lessons. I'll go ahead and open the 3rd grade pacing guide. And so you can see it is a vertical pacing guide. And so with that, we've included review lessons at the beginning of the year for students to review anything that they've maybe learned in the past years. And then all these new lessons will build on those coding skills and add more coding at increasing levels of complexity. We really like to call it our playlist of our best curated lessons for you. The middle school pacing guide is a bit different, so I'll go ahead and open that to show you what it looks like. We have 3 levels with this middle school pacing guide. So level 1 will take students through the basics of both Color Codes and Ozobot Blockly. Level 2 build on that computational thinking and the technical skill. And then level 3 is for advanced students who are really ready to push their programming skills. We think this middle school pacing guide is perfect for teachers who might have students with varying degrees of skill and experience. And we also love to recommend it to STEM teachers or coding clubs and after-school programs. And last, I will share with you the standards alignment document. So we've created this so that you can easily find any lesson that we have that will align with the specific standard that you'd like to cover. So we have CSTA, ISTE, NGSS, TEKS, and Florida. And if you're looking for a specific lesson, you could just go ahead and search, or looking for a specific standard, you just go ahead and search it, and then you'll be able to find the link that'll take you directly to that lesson. Okay, and that is all I have for you. I'm going to hand it over to Jen to talk about some setup and support.
All right. So when you're setting up for a lesson, it's really pretty straightforward. The very first thing you want to do is to make sure your bots are updated. They only really need to be updated once a year, maybe at the beginning of the school year. That seems to be a pretty standard time to do it with no students around. For a color code lesson, calibration and printing activity sheets are really the only setup that you need to do, other than lesson prep on your part, reading through the lesson, etc., going through the materials. For Ozobot Blockly, be sure the bots are renamed and print any activity sheets. A little bit about charging. Battery life is about 1 hour of continuous use. It also takes about an hour to charge fully. So keep that in mind if you're using these back-to-back with your students in back-to-back classes. If you're feeling like you need some hands-on support and you'd like to have us present some Ozobot training, we offer virtual and in-person sessions for color codes, Ozobot Blockly, and lesson integration. If you want more information about our professional development offerings, email sales@ozobot.com for more information. Also, if you're having technical issues, please send a detailed email to support@ozobot.com. They're really great about responding quickly and thoroughly. And one last resource. We have plenty of past webinar recordings that you can find on the Ozobot website, and keep your eyes peeled for upcoming webinars as well. All right, Jordan, updates.
So we wanted to finish off today's webinar by updating you on what we've been up to this summer. We are so excited to announce the launch of Challenge Mats. This is something the Ozobot team has been busy developing, and we're so excited about this new instructional resource. So a little bit about it. The mat is intended for upper elementary and middle school students, and it provides an immersive and challenge-based application to Ozobot Blockly. There are 4 themes to choose from. You can see here we have Mission to Mars and Ultimate Soccer. We also have Ocean Exploration and Basketball. Each mat comes with a unit of lessons you could find on Ozobot Classroom, as well as cards and accessories. And our second update is Ari, which is our latest bot that teaches computer science and core content to K through 12 students. We are so excited to announce the launch of this new bot. It's powered by an Android operating system, so it's similar to your iPhone. And Ari has this really cool high-resolution touchscreen, and it can display text, images, animations. The EDU team really loves this component of the new bot because it engages students in a whole new way and really allows them to interact with the lesson. So go ahead and check those out if you're interested. And now we have some time saved for a Q&A. So if you have any questions, you are welcome to turn on your camera, turn on your mic, and ask away.
One of the questions that I noticed in the chat a little bit ago as I was scrolling through was, can a computer be used to update? If you're doing a single bot update, if you connect your bot using Bluetooth in Ozobot Blockly, it will prompt you to update if an update is needed. So if you want to do a single bot at a time, or if you don't have access to a phone or a tablet, that would be the way to update. Unfortunately, there's not a way to update a class set using a computer currently. So phone or tablet, I always suggest the tablet if you have access to one, just because you don't want to tie up your, well, maybe you do want to tie up your phone for an hour. But yeah, it will tie up your device for a little while if it's going through a 12 class set or an 18 bot set. So
Okay, I had a question. Is there a point where the Ozbots just, I mean, mine are like old. They're like 6 years old. They're the very old ones. I'm gonna try to update them when I go back and look at how you're supposed to do it, but is there a point where they, I mean, like, I don't even want to admit what my boss and I bought them for, not much, many years ago. Because I run a before and after school program. And I'm just looking, I'm going, none of them look like my poor little Ollie and Ozzy. We named all of ours. We have 3, Ollie, Ozzy, and Olivia.
that's fun. Do you know what? Are your bots Evo or are they bit?
And
An
now you're making
Evo,
me think.
I know. If you
How
look at
dare.
the
I
bottom
mean,
of
this
the
is like
bot,
the original what they came in. So they're
those
old.
are, yeah, those are bits, and those actually are not updatable. So let me see if
That's
I
what
can
I
hold
thought.
these up to the screen. So maybe, yeah. So
Yeah, I know what the new ones
bit,
look like because I see them online.
this is an Evo. So you can really tell the difference because the bit has that little bumper on the front and the Evo doesn't have that little bumper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you
Well, I
have a
told my
bit,
boss today, I said, we might have to fork out some new money because I want new ones.
you know what, and you'll find that Evos, here I'm holding up a bit. Evos actually have so much more functionality because you can connect them using Bluetooth to your device. So
Right.
it's
I
so
mean, it
much
just sounds like
easier.
there's so many more options.
Yeah, so much
Because
easier.
I have a lovely name because I'm the STEM nerd of the before and after school program, and my name is
Woohoo.
Granny Gator because I'm the oldest person on staff. So Granny Gator's STEM Lab, that's who
Love
I
it.
am.
Do you have a big sign that says that? You
Yes,
should.
I don't
That's
have
like
it in
so
this room,
perfect.
but it's huge. There's a gator on it. It says Granny Gator's
Oh, I
STEM
love
Lab.
it. That's wonderful.
The things we do to entertain ourselves after school.
Right?
I will be looking online for new ones, but I just needed to
Yeah.
confirm so I can tell my boss, no, ours cannot be updated.
That is correct. And you can also, when you're talking to your boss, tell them that the Evo has sound and more lights, which
Ooh,
makes a really
sound. My
big
children would
difference.
love that.
Not to mention, it has proximity sensors. So there is a lesson in the Intro to Ozobot Blockly series where you can play tag with the bot because it can detect whether something's in front or behind it. And
Wow.
yeah, with the bits, they don't have those
No,
proximity.
they don't. I mean, my kids still have fun. We did stuff with them this
Sure.
summer, but
Yeah,
they're like,
absolutely.
they just don't follow the lines like they used to. I'm like, no, they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do wear out. And especially the batteries are so small in those that if the battery life is starting to fall off, that can affect the working of the bot. So
Well, thank you very much. I'm sure that other people have questions, but just needed to confirm. So thank you.
you're welcome. What other questions are there?
Yeah, I saw in the chat a question. Can you explain what Ari does? And so Ari is our new cobot that does everything Evo can do and more. We have the amazing touchscreen on it where you can find different apps that allow students of all different grade levels to integrate with different content. Within Ari, there's also an accelerometer, a gyroscope, a time of flight sensor, and so much more. And we're actually hosting a webinar in October that will introduce you to Ari, and you can learn so much more about our new bot.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Tell me why we need to name the bots.
If you're only using color codes, you don't need to rename them. If you are going to use Ozobot Blockly, you do need to rename them because when you are going to connect them to your device to run a program, the individual bot, the students will look at their bot and see which bot they have, and that's the bot they will connect to in Ozobot Blockly. So that's why it's important. When you first get new bots, they're all called Ozo Evo. So if you were going to do a Blockly lesson and your students are trying to connect, they wouldn't know which bot to connect to.
I noticed that on the bottom of the bot, there is a number, because when I was trying to update, it would look for the number, and then it would flash, and I could pick up that bot and it would be the same number as what was flashing, or what was on the screen that it was looking for. I don't know. I'm still so new to Blockly.
No,
But
that's okay.
my
Yes, I'm just
my
trying
quest-
to, I'm
yeah,
trying
go
to
ahead.
imagine which part of the process you would have been doing. Because when you do rename them in the app, have your bots been renamed before?
That's what
I
I
don't
think happened.
I don't believe so. I think that the museum that got them,
Mhm.
all they ever did was just had them draw the black lines. And when I came in and started doing their after school program, they had
Yeah.
no idea that you were even supposed to calibrate them.
Oh,
So,
thank you. Thank
yeah.
you for knowing that and sharing that with them.
Well, I've been doing your webinars and looking online at your lessons, and so these are extremely helpful. But I would like to get into the Blockly because I'm using Scratch with these students also, and so they're ready to program something.
Yeah.
But when I could get it to program, to transfer the first program, but then when I would delete that program and try to run a new program, it wouldn't delete the old program off of the Ozobot.
Right.
So that's where I am.
Will you email support@ozobot.com with a detailed message about that? Because they may have some suggestions on
Okay.
how to clear those programs. That's
Okay.
interesting.
I will do that. Yeah, and we're using a tablet, and so I set the Ozobot on the tablet where it says to put it, and then if it
Right.
flashes green, you know that it's accepting the new program. And
Correct.
sometimes it won't flash green, it just, so either I'm missing a step or
So is it not flashing at all?
no. It's like I'll put it on to calibrate it, and then I will put it on to accept the new program, and sometimes it just does the front of the Ozobot normal color
Right,
light.
just sits
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
One thing you can try is make sure the screen brightness is at 100%.
Okay.
There's there's a setting in Blockly on the right-hand menu. If you go all the way to the bottom, you can click on settings,
Okay.
and then there's a setting for flashing. And it gives you the options of slow, normal, or fast. Click on the slow. And what that does
Okay.
is it slows down the flash rate, and that may allow the bot to pick up the flashing easier.
Thank you. I'll try both of those.
Okay. And if that doesn't work, email support.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. What other questions? There was just one about battery health. The best thing to do if you're going to store your bots for any length of time is to not have them at 100% charge. Turn them on until they're about 50% charge and then store them. Store them in cool, dry place, not super hot.
Is there a way to find out though, like how much battery is on there? Maybe I haven't seen, because like, how do I know it's 50? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, really, it's just as long as it's not at 100%,
Okay.
because it can stress a battery. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Got it. Yeah, just like because
yeah.
it's trying to also make sure that it doesn't, you know,
Right.
the battery doesn't go bad too quickly.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
For
thanks.
sure.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have one first generation Evo
And our district purchased a class set now, so I have 24 of the newer, but I really need that last one because I have some class sizes that are 25 now.
Right.
So is there a way, do I update that in the same way I do all the rest?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep. In fact, if you want to take one of the ones out of the charge base and put, well, except for, hold
It
on.
doesn't, no,
I was
that's
just gonna
accessible
say,
today,
if you've got
actually.
new bots, right, if you've got new bots, they sit upright in the charge
Yep.
base. And so they have the charge contacts on the bottom, whereas the old ones don't have those. So that does need to be plugged in. But as long as the bot is plugged in, you should be able to update it in just the same way.
Okay, I did plug it in yesterday and it was flashing turquoise. And so I wasn't sure, it didn't seem like it was charging.
Were all of the lights flashing turquoise or just the top?
Oh, I'm not sure.
One thing you can try with that is as you're plugging the bot in, hold the power button down. So hold the power button and plug it in.
Okay.
And then let go and see if that changes the charge behavior, because once it's plugged in, it should be scrolling red or green or yellow lights across the front.
Okay, I'll try that. I did try when it was plugged in to hold down the power button and that didn't work. So I'll try to do it at the same time as I'm plugging it in.
Yeah, try that.
Thank you.
And then if that doesn't work, then contact support@ozobot.com.
Okay, thank you.
They may have some really smart suggestions that I don't know about. Any other questions? Something I've noticed with color codes is that sometimes if I mentioned this during my spiel, but let me just say it again. If you're using color codes and you're finding that your bots aren't doing what they're supposed to do, be sure that if you're using printed black lines, that you calibrate to a printed calibration dot that was printed on the same printer at the same time as your activity sheets. If you're using marker drawn lines, calibrate to a marker drawn calibration spot. Sometimes that just that slight difference in the printed dot and the marker dot can make a big difference. Yes, yeah. What other questions have you got? All right, that sounds like all the questions so far. Again, if you have more, if something pops into your mind afterward, you can always email support@ozobot.com. And they're really quick and really knowledgeable, and they're a great resource. So we have a quick survey for you also. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. We hope that it was helpful to you. Watch out for the recording. That should be sent out to all the participants, as well as posted on our website on our past webinars page. And Jordan, would you send, wait, is the survey, how does that work?
Yeah, it'll just populate right when we're done. Yeah, and look out for a blog we will send you as well that will include all of the links to everything we talked about today. Thank you everyone for joining us and have a great start of the new school year. Bye.